Hello friends, welcome to Lawyer's Kingdom. How are you doing today? The Gangsters Act is a law enacted in India to combat organized crime and habitual offences. It provides authorities with the power to take preventive action against individuals involved in criminal activities that pose a serious threat to public order, peace, and tranquility. Here is a more detailed explanation of the Gangsters Act, including its definition, grounds for invoking the Act, provisions, and an example case study. Definition: The Gangsters Act defines a gunda as a person who has a history of criminal activities and is likely to commit offences punishable by imprisonment of 7 years or more. A gunda engages in activities that seriously endanger public order, peace, or tranquility. Grounds for invoking the Gangsters Act. The Act can be invoked against an individual based on several grounds, including previous convictions. If a person has prior convictions for offences involving moral turpitude or a history of repeated criminal activities, they may be subjected to the Gangsters Act. Likelihood of committing serious offences. If credible information and evidence suggest that an individual is likely to commit a serious offence that could disrupt public order or peace, the Act can be invoked as a preventive measure. Provisions for preventive detention. The Gangsters Act empowers law enforcement agencies to detain individuals suspected of being gundas without trial for a specified period. This provision is aimed at preventing them from engaging in further criminal activities and maintaining public order. However, the detention must be based on reasonable grounds and subject to periodic review by an advisory board. Stringent bail conditions. The Act imposes strict conditions for granting bail to individuals charged under the Gangsters Act. This ensures that those involved in organized crime or habitual offences are not easily released on bail, as it may pose a risk to public safety and enable them to continue their criminal activities. Confiscation of properties. The Gangsters Act allows for the confiscation of properties acquired by a gunda through illegal means or used for criminal activities. This provision aims to disrupt the financial resources of organized criminal networks and weaken their economic foundation. The confiscated properties are typically used for public purposes or to compensate victims of the gunda's actions. Example case study. Let's consider an example case study to illustrate the application of the Gangsters Act. Case study: The arrest and prosecution of a notorious gangster involved in extortion. In a city plagued by a wave of extortion activities, the police have been closely monitoring the operations of Vikram, a notorious gangster with a history of violence and intimidation. Based on substantial evidence gathered through surveillance, intelligence inputs, and victim testimonies, the police decide to take action against Vikram under the Gangsters Act. Vikram is arrested, and preventive detention proceedings are initiated to prevent him from continuing his criminal activities. During his detention, the police intensify their investigation and gather additional evidence linking Vikram to multiple extortion cases. This includes intercepted phone conversations, financial transactions, and statements from victims who were coerced into paying large sums of money. The case against Vikram is presented before a designated court specialized in handling cases under the Gangsters Act. The court ensures that Vikram's rights are protected throughout the trial and gives him an opportunity to present his defense. After careful examination of the evidence and due process, the court finds Vikram guilty under the provisions of the Gangsters Act, considering the severity of his crimes and the threat he posed to public safety. Vikram is subsequently sentenced to a significant term of imprisonment, and the court orders the confiscation of his illegally acquired assets, including properties, vehicles, and other belongings. The confiscated assets are utilized to compensate the victims of Vikram's extortion activities and support community welfare programs aimed at preventing organized crime. This case study highlights how the Gangsters Act can be effectively used to combat organized crime, protect public order, and ensure the safety and well-being of society. Note: the specific provisions and procedures may vary in different states of India as the Gangsters Act is implemented at the state level. The provided information serves as a general overview and should be supplemented with the relevant laws and regulations applicable to a particular jurisdiction. Please like, share, and subscribe.